Welcome to the Black News Network. This is Wall Smith, your host today, bringing you the show. This is the Black News Network, BNN 247. We bring you the news from a Black perspective because we want you to understand it from a Black perspective. The first thing out of the chute today is history cannot be unlived. And when I say that, I mean you can't forget your past. You can do all the I ain't trying to live back there or whatever you want to do, but you cannot unlive your past because that is where your future begins in your past. And if you don't honor your past, I mean, you don't know your present, and then you definitely won't know your future. There has been an issue with us being Americans in the United States of America. And that issue derives from us being, they want us for labor and not for our skill set that we bring to the table. And if you think about it, Black Americans brought damn near everything to these people, and we get nothing in return. There's no reason why our people should have suffered the way we had. You know, Tim Scott, if you want to see a buffoon coon, look at how he was on the stage with Donald Trump. Buck-eyed and buck teeth. And I was just, when I said teeth, I was thinking about what I would say years and years ago. I would say buck eyes and buck teethus. You know, it's amazing how far we go away from our roots. That's very, very important. Tim Scott, biggest sellout you can find. He is definitely not one of us. He's expecting something from Donald Trump, and more than likely, he's not going to get what he wants because Donald Trump don't like black. Today, I want to go down a list of things that have occurred over the years in the United States of America. And these things are, there's such graphic visual. It's not even visual words that I want to give a warning and let you know that you might not want to hear this because the information I'm about to disclose is information that you don't normally tell everybody about. I'm going to give you about 20, maybe 30 different things that hindered Black Americans in the United States of America. In 1776, they came up with the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, correct? Yeah, correct. 41 of the signers of the Declaration of Independence were slave owners. They were slavers. They had all these black people under their thumb, but yet they go and call themselves independent from another society. Why? I don't know, but they did. They called themselves independent. Like I was just saying, the Declaration of Independence, 41 of the signers were slave owners. And we're going to our first call today, which is Mr. Kevin Smith. And I want to hear what's on his mind. See if we can break it down. What you got, Mr. Kevin?
Thank you for answering the phone call. And I just wanted to say that, a lot of people have history misconstrued as far as, what comes now. People today want to put out their own rules, and thinking that we're supposed to be susceptible about what's going on, in America. You really look at crime is so bad in Jackson, Mississippi, that it is just damning just to even speak about. And it's us doing it to us. It's not us doing it to anyone else, but we're doing it to our own selves. Youngsters out there just killing mercilessly. And they don't understand that what they're doing today to the American people, our own people. Now, if you want to fight overseas, they're going to show you how they really get it. Because they have to do nonsense. If you bring it, we don't. What they doing senseless killings, and I mean the things that's going on here in Mississippi is totally different out. Just being real.
You got a point there. I mean, this year in Mississippi, there have been several killings already, and we're only in February. What do you have? Do you know how many people have been murdered in Mississippi since January 1?
Well, since let's just say last week, we had 18 that died last week in 1 week. That's a
Wow.
lot of people.
And these all kids or grown ups?
These are kids. I mean, you talking 17, 15, 16, 14, and they
Mm,
steady getting more and more. And,
mm,
and the county government is saying, okay, we're going to put a curfew out, and they got to be home. And if they child do a crime, we're going to punish the parents. Well, you
mm.
can always blame the parent for what the kids are doing. These are two separate minds. You have an adult mind, and you have a child's mind. So how are you going to make someone, do what you want to do back in the day? When we had no parents, we had better parents. These days, they want to be the child's friend instead of being, the child's parent. And if you say anything about that child, they get mad and ready to fight you over something the child is doing.
And they'll
So
go up in
that's
the
not good.
schoolhouse and fight you too.
Yeah, they come right up to your school after fight you.
Hmm.
Just because you said that this child can do it, that's the same child who knife people, put a
Hmm.
gun on them, and do everything. I'll tell you what incident on. It
Hmm.
happened back here about a year and a half. Young lady, two daughters killed her. They found her, she had a knife in her chest and they ran over with her own car by her two children, 13 and 14 years old.
Wow.
Now,
These
ain't that
black
something?
are these black
That's
people?
something.
These ain't black people, right?
Oh, yeah, black.
Damn, that's cold.
That's a cold
Now,
situation.
go ahead.
But I'm just saying, we don't get it. We want to sit here and sympathize with what's going on and what these kids are doing.
Hmm.
When you took two things out of school, that's a good whipping and some good authority.
Hmm.
When you took those two things out of school, guess what? Everything went haywire.
Hmm.
Now people are around here today crying and going on. Even up there in Texas, when that young man went up there and killed all them kids. He
Hmm.
didn't have no mercy. He didn't have no authority. Because if his parents would have beat him like he's supposed to be beat, he never would have come out no mental illness and all that stuff.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
everybody ain't gonna agree with that beating their kids, but I agree with you. I just want you to know.
And I thank you for it because you need to beat him because if you
Just like
don't beat
Whoopi
him,
Gold, well, you talking like Whoopi Goldberg in The Color Purple.
that's
Yeah,
right.
got
Beat him.
that woman locked up.
Well, I mean,
She went to jail after that shit.
he did
Yeah.
actually. So I mean, you don't give no chance, and that's what violence is so strong in kids today. They
Mm,
don't know what a strong devil is. A
mm-mm.
strong switch extension cord.
No, they don't have no clue what that is. Some of it, I bet kids don't even know what a rotary phone is. They never had that experience. And I think that's the biggest issue we're dealing with is exposure of the children to our ancestry. And when you forget about the ancestry, you forget about how we were raised. You forget about the discipline that our parents instilled in us. You don't have anything to give you that type of education in today's society. What you got is a watered down version of white society. You don't get black society. We are a totally different group of people. Every group, every nationality of people got a way of life that they conduct with their people, except us. And we're reluctant to get back to the basics and learn that way of life. And as long as we ignore it, we're gonna be in this disarray, this dysfunctional lifestyle of a culture, not just an individual. It's a culture that's in a dysfunctional lifestyle. So we got a lot to learn. All right, your final remarks, Mr. Kevin.
Yes, sir. Once we identify who we are and bring back the village, then I think that we will have more susceptible success to what we need. Because right now we don't have that. We're not going back. All we're going to do is everything else go past us. So I think that we need to get together. And I think it's in show.
There you go. That's Mr. Kevin Smith out of Jackson, Mississippi, letting us know what's going on down there. So that's some good information that he just passed to us, and I appreciate that. Like I was saying earlier, Tim Scott, the biggest black buffoon you can find on Donald Trump's watch. It's a really sad individual. 1776, 1788. That's when the U.S. Constitution determined that black men were only worth 3/5 of a man. 1857 Dred Scott case were not where they said that black people were not citizens of the United States of America. That was 1857. Now they never went back. Dred Scott case is still active. They never rescinded that case and changed it. You know, they didn't have another judge to go back. You know how the judge go back and change the ruling. Not on Dred Scott, it ain't happened to this day. And like I say, the ruling was we are not citizens of the United States. That was 1865. Abe Lincoln was assassinated. But before that, 1861, we declared war on the 13 southern states declared war to protect their way of slavery in the South, and they end up getting smoked. You know, there was a lot of ebb and flow with the Union and the Confederacy, but at the end of the day, the Union came out successful. So now the southern states needed to succeed. I mean, needed to be re-entered into the United States. And if you notice that there are really two names, United States, which is one name, and United States of America is another name. The United States is the country. The United States of America is the corporation. Big difference in the way both govern themselves. So that was 1861. We went into war to get rid of to protect slavery. That's what the South did when they attacked the North. 1865. That's when Abe Lincoln decided to end the war with the Emancipation Proclamation, which eliminated slavery. And now it was an Emancipation Proclamation. Emancipation Proclamation is not law. It's not even a clause. It's a proclamation. And proclamation is just a statement made by a government. Emancipation is a group or culture of people that were once possessed are now freed. So it freed people that was held hostage by the government have now been released. So that's your Emancipation Proclamation in 1865. That that proclamation really didn't do the justice we expected it to do, because immediately following the Emancipation Proclamation, there was the Black Codes and the Jim Crow laws. I mean, we talked about that so much, I don't think that needs an explanation. Um, they also passed the 13th Amendment in 1865. We'll cover that some other time. In 1915, so this is what, 40 years, 50 years later, they come out with one of the first black and white movies called The Birth of a Nation. The Birth of a Nation was a movie depicting the white men in an uproar because they're afraid that black men are taking their women. That's what they're afraid of. So because they are afraid that black men are taking their women, they go on a rampage and they kill every black person they see. It's kind of really wrong for what that movie did to white America. It really gave them the strength and the energy and in some cases the authority to go out and kill black people. So Birth of a Nation was a really unacceptable movie that was placed out there. And in the Birth of a Nation movie, it depicted black people as nothing more than a slave. Maybe you're free, but you're still a slave. And that was 1915 with Birth of a Nation. Then you had in 1921 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, that's where you had Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street was a black community, thriving community that was burned down to the ground by white mobsters over a lie. Because that boy didn't grab that woman, he tripped on the ledge of the elevator. He was so damn scared to get on the elevator with a white woman. He stumbled and fell into her, and her low down ass went out and said he molested her in the elevator. You know, and then all the white men went over and destroyed Black Wall Street, which is where hundreds of black people were very prosperous in what they did. They still owe these people money, and they have not honored what they could pay. There's only one or two survivors left, but those one or two survivors have plenty of descendants that can receive. In 1955, Emmett Till was accused of messing with a white woman, saying something to a white woman. I don't know what. But Emmett Till was beaten to death in a barn and then taken over to a bridge and wrapped up in chicken wire and threw overboard, over the river bank, over the bridge. White men did this to this young boy. And they beat him so bad that the mortician didn't want to have an open casket funeral, but the mother insisted on having an open casket funeral to show the levels that white men will go to destroy a black person. They don't give a damn black man, black woman, black child. You know, rumor has it that they were using black children to kick in the swamp alligators. You know, brutal shit. I can't say brutal enough because that is some shit that is it is so sickening. to know that a group of people would do another group of people like that, like they did black people. It's sad. But what gives them the right to do that? They get the right from colonization. You go into an area and you colonize it. The first thing you're going to do as a politician is set up the judicial system. Now you have the judicial, the legislature, and the executive, and it usually go the judicial, the legislature, the judicial, and the other system. Those three systems dictate how a country forms and operates. The judicial systems enact laws. In other words, that's where the laws get approved. So they once they go in and decimate the area with disease, guns, knives, and just straight out torture, they go back and enact the law through the judicial system, saying that these things are outlawed here. Now, you can't do this anymore. Except if you were training a black person, you are authorized to beat them to death. These are the laws. It was so bad in this country for black people that if you go to Montgomery, Alabama, you will see that they have what they call a hanging museum. A hanging museum. Not just a museum for black Americans, black culture. The title of the museum is called the Hanging Museum. It's a lot of stuff going on out there that museum. It's a really nice museum to go and visit. If you ever get to Montgomery, Alabama, here's some things that you would see once you go there. You see all the slaves depicting their hands up, which is pretty sad, but that's what they had to do. Raise your hand so you don't get in no damn trouble. That is what we have to deal with in Montgomery, Alabama. It's something to look at it. And I mean, you really have to look at that and understand what I'm saying. So we just got past Emmett Till. In the same year is when Rosa Parks sit in the front of the bus and didn't want to get out of her seat, which she was right in my mind. You hear all these people running around saying, man, if I lived back there, it would be some shit to pay. I'd be able to tow their asses up. You know, that's a damn lie. You know, the same people that's talking that shit, if they lived back then, what they would do. If they gonna do something, why not do it now? You living now, do it now. Quit fucking lying, trying to make yourself sound important and bad. You wouldn't do shit. You're gonna do the same shit you do here. You would have did it back there, and that's not a damn thing. So don't come here telling me that bullshit. Don't want to hear. So we got Emmett Till, Rosa Parks. 1961, John Lewis was beaten on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Now, for somebody to get beat up on this bridge is really sad. This is the Edmund Pettus Bridge. We didn't want that. but that's the way it is. Here's another picture from the museum. John Lewis beaten on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. 1963, four black girls killed, bombed at a church by a racist. These are things that you gotta just sit back in your seat and drop your chin to the floor because it's just so treacherous. It's almost impossible to believe that people would stoop so low as to do these kind of things. Malcolm X was assassinated, I believe, in 1963. His own people killed him. Martin Luther King assassinated in 1968. And now mark that date, 1968. Let's round it up, 1970. From 70 to the year 2000, that's 30 years. So in actuality, it's 32 years. So 30 years to 2000. From 2000 to 2020, that's 50 years or 52 years, plus the 4 years now, 56 years. 56 years since we had a civil rights leader. 56 years, y'all. Any one of us could be that leader. And the only way you become that leader is if you get out there and start protesting what's been happening to our people. And you got to do it where people can see it. You can't just sit around in the back room in the bar and bitch about it. Stop bitching about it and be about it. Stop the bitching. Start some action. Again, I say our history cannot be unlived. You cannot unlive these things. These are the things that we know happened during our time. And this being Black History Month, I want to celebrate us at least having 29 days this year of Black History because this is a leap year. So let's enjoy the little time that we got. And every Sunday from 11 to 2, we're going to be at the Carver Library doing a presentation. You know, 1976, Ronald Reagan became president around that time, and he was so mad at the Black Panthers for storming the Capitol in California that he swore to get even with them in the long run. They were all over the Capitol with guns, and nobody could say a damn thing because there was no law saying they could not be in there. There was no law saying they could not be in there. Excuse me, y'all. Ronald Reagan put out a statement saying that Black women is the cause of our welfare system to be demised. Ain't that some shit? That's a damn lie. He blamed Black women for the amount of money the welfare system was spending. And if you did the math, you'd know that it was white women, more white women on welfare than any black woman. Let me go back to Emmett Till and just let you know a little tidbit of information. Bryant, that's his name, Phil Bryant, which who Phil Bryant ended up being the governor of Mississippi, but his nephew, his sister's son, was the Bryant that killed Emmett Till and went to court for it and the case got dismissed. When the case got dismissed, he went down to what this place called Bell Manufacturing, which is 100 yards from where I grew up. I spent all my life there until I was 17. He worked at the Bell Manufacturing as a welder, and the VA paid him to get his welding training. That's after he had been after he murdered that boy, Emmett Till. So I'm saying that to say the federal government knows what's going on. They know about all the bullshit that we have endured just to be a citizen of this God-forsaken country. If you don't know, there's a lot of people going to other countries to live right now, a lot of black people, because they're just so tired of being disrespected. And I think that once America, once we realize that in America, all these people have archives of black men, black women in pickle jars, sitting around their house in the basement like a pig, a baby piglet or something. I wouldn't be surprised if they had baby black children in jars sitting around their house somewhere. Because these people have, it's almost like they have no soul for the things that they do. And they do some of the most atrocious things in the English history. I cannot put enough weight on that word atrocious because of what they did to our people. And I am so disappointed in the way white people treat black people. I'm so disappointed in the way the federal government defend black people because they don't. They saw George Floyd getting prosecuted on the ground. They saw 20 out of 22 of these shootings where white men unloaded clips on black men. And you haven't heard anything else about that white cop that jumped up on the hood of a car and shot this black man to death. And then he got the audacity to claim it was a threat. It was not a threat. He in the car, you jumped up on the car to confront him. So how is that a threat to you? It ain't. It's a bunch of shit. A bunch of bullshit. Anyways, moving right along. Ronald Reagan did what he did to blame the black women for welfare. But he failed to say anything about the apartheid going on in Africa because that is the same time all that shit was going on over there. Apartheid. He vetoed a bill that was trying to help the people. You know, it was the Tutsis and the Hutus or something like that. Hutus, one or the other, they were trying to kill each other because they didn't want to live together. But they making us live with white people, and they're doing the killing. We're doing the want to live with them. They are doing the killing, and we are doing the want to live with them. George Bush came president, and he gave the authority to white people to display their white racist comments. He turned a big portion of America into haters. Donald Trump in 1989, Donald Trump called for the execution of 5 boys that were accused of rape in Central Park, and they did not rape that woman. He wanted the death penalty put on them immediately. And see, white folks think that's cute. Let's hang them niggers. Let's get them up on a rope. See how it go. We'll get them after church on Sunday. You go to church on Sunday, worship God, asking God to forgive you for your sins. But Monday morning, you start all over again. You don't wait till Monday morning. You start Sunday evening. Got your kids out there, and I guarantee you there's some grown-ass white people right now that were part of those pictures that you see of a black man being hung. And a black man being riddled with bullets, and a black man being castrated, and a black man having his fingers snipped, his ears snipped, his private parts snipped, and placed in jars in the white folks' homes. You'll never find out as a black person. They'll get rid of that shit quick when it comes time to get rid of it. But there are some archives out there. And I bet you a lot of the Black African archives are in the Vatican in Italy. 1992 is when Rodney King got beat down by the police and then the courts acquitted them. Los Angeles went buck wild, pulling the original Denny out of the truck and beating his ass. You know, it was just a rampage. And what you do so much to people, they get to a point where they're going to say 2 T's in a bucket, motherfucker. They're going to fuck you up. It's just that simple because you haven't given them much of a chance to grow or to be a citizen here in this country. You've given them a chance to sit back and watch what you do to prosper. And the moment we set foot in your area or the area you think is yours, it's never going to be yours because you stole it. Anything you steal cannot be yours. Ever. So that was 1992 when Rodney King got beat and all of his attackers were acquitted. 2005, Bush took too long to respond to Katrina. You know, Katrina down there suffering, people dying and all kind of shit going down. And Bush, the junior, failed to respond with federal supplies or resources. Resources got from Germany to New Orleans before anything came from the federal government here. That's so damn sad. That is really sad. Supplies were coming from Italy, from Germany, from France, from Austria, all arrived before one single bus arrived by the U.S., from the U.S. government sending it. Then they brought General Honoraris down there, and he went buck wild, put them goddamn weapons down. You damn right, because these boys thinking they in a war zone. That's all they want to do is shoot somebody black. That's all they want to do. Shoot somebody black. It seems like that's a prerequisite for a police officer to get his street credit. He got to shoot somebody black. It's almost like joining the gang. You got to do this in the gang in order to get your street credit. And they want you to do the same thing in the police force. You won't get your street credit until you kill a black man. Man, I just think about this stuff and I just get so sad, so disappointed about what's happening in America. Now, I don't want you to think that all the Black News Network report is bad news. We report news, whether good or bad, that affects Black families, Black fathers, Black mothers, and Black children. And don't forget the grandma. 9 Black people were murdered in a South Carolina church by a little young white boy. And the police had the audacity to take this little fucker to Burger King on his way to the police station. Favoritism at its best. There are two judicial systems in America, one for white and one for Black. And as long as you can remember that you're going to be treated different, that's why you got to be twice as proficient in 100% of everything you do, even your family life, because you don't want your spouse calling your commander telling them that you are not doing what you're supposed to do, putting your business on blast. Like hers ain't gonna be on blast. She's making a damn phone call. Some women really do some stupid shit. 2020, the presidential election, Donald Trump tried to overthrow the government with his January 6th insurrection to fall. I mean, he had the audacity to call Georgia and try to coerce this man into finding some fault in the Democratic vote so he can win Georgia. The man told him, hell to the no, I ain't doing that. And I don't blame him. If you don't do what Donald Trump say, he's going to come after you. That's why all the white folks in Congress today won't do right because they're afraid of Donald Trump. Let's see. Donald Trump won the nomination in New Hampshire, but he won with 91 violations of the law. He won as an accused rapist. And Donald Trump has been impeached twice during his 2016 to 2020 run as president. He needed to stop damn pouting and give it up, man. He lost the damn race, but he still got stupid ass people running around here talking about the race ain't over. There are some things in our government that are fundamentally wrong. The Constitution was written in support of the United States. But if they included most of the right doctrine to make us citizens, why do we need the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment to validate our attendance? Why do we need that? We don't need it to validate the Constitution. Youth crime in America is up 326% as of last Monday. So if youth crime is that high, Black parent crime is going down. Black youth crime going up. When we stopped teaching our history, that's when the rubber hit the road for us. We were no longer a viable projecting source of people striving in the same direction. So they systematically wiped us out by taking our leaders away and not having them return back to their communities. But at the same time, they were doing shit like critical race theory, uh, they overturned the affirmative action, which was to help black people, really. But anytime they do something for black people, they include Mexicans and everybody else with them. Why? I don't know, because we're not in the same group as Mexicans, but yet we allow the government to chunk us in there. We can't allow them to call us minorities. We got to make sure that they call us by our real name. And I'm going to tell you what our real name is. It is Moor. We are Moors. We come from North West Africa, Northwest Africa. That's where we came from. We don't talk about our history, but yet we throw the Holocaust up in everybody's face. And we in school, we know every damn thing about the Holocaust. 6 million Jews died. What about the 6 million blacks that were killed as a result of dirty white people? That was white on white crime, the Holocaust. This is white on black crime. A dominant force attacking a less dominant force. See, this is like the U.S.A. Russia attacking Ukraine. But the difference is we don't possess the arsenals and the type of government that Ukraine has. But who knows, it might benefit us. So the Holocaust can kiss my ass. That's how I feel. I was thinking about this part too, I wanted to bring to your attention. In the state of Mississippi, there's a new subdivision in my hometown of Inverness. And I can remember when I was 4 and 5 years old, taking a pathway through the dump to get to the other side of town or the other side of the black neighborhood. And somehow that just disappeared. And in the same area where I used to cut through the garbage dump, there's nothing but houses over there. And everybody has died that died there in that neighborhood died from cancer. Everybody. But nobody wants to take a reading of the soil. Nobody probably knows the steps to take to prove that this little country is the town is condemned. It's condemned. What I'm gonna tell you now is our biggest problem in America. The biggest problem we have in America is we are too much a forgiving people. I heard a story today where a guy had a white guy come into his house, change the plastic O-ring underneath the toilet. Okay, so he did that. And this individual said, "How much do you charge?" He said, "No, worry about it, just give me something." So he gave him $50. But really the guy said, "Oh, I do it for 25." He gave him 50 though, because he didn't want to feel like he shortchanged him. But if he asked you for $20 for it, why wouldn't you just give him $20 damn dollars and move on? You know, you can't save every damn body. We really don't know our own history because they taught us their history. And because their history is written, they make it sound like it's an absolute fact, which is not. The true program of America is to take care of migrants. Migrants going into homeless shelters, going into hotels that were both designated for the homeless population in a particular city, and the homeless population is getting turned away because 100 damn refugees jump off the bus to go in there and get a bed. And that's what's happening here. One question I want to ask you, though, and you don't have to answer. Do we follow a slave? What does it say? Do we follow the slave rules, or do we follow the leader's rules? Just think about that one and come back and tell me later. We have to be twice as good, sometimes twice as bad, twice as better than our counterparts. Because if we're not going to get the credit that we so deserve. I wrote this down that it's going to ruffle some feathers. I don't care. There's no way in hell I would allow a white man to run a black organization. And that's just fact. And for you as a black man to condone that type of exercise, you are weak. Because you just asking yourself to put yourself back on the plantation and be dictated to by a white man. You ain't got over being a descendant of slaves. You want the dumbest shit. But nobody in their right mind should allow a white man to take over their organization, because that's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Despite the Constitution, despite affirmative action, despite the civil rights movement, despite going back to Africa, despite the Emancipation Proclamation, our culture is going down still going down. We're going to have to make some serious decisions, people. If we continue to do nothing, then we're going to keep getting bulldozed into a hole full of bodies. And that's going to only happen because we ain't saying shit about all the real shit that they're doing. We pray to God every Sunday, which is good. We give money to God every Sunday, which is good. But I'm going to tell you something. God, being the omnipotent God that He is, the seer of all things, the knower of all the things to know, this is God. So why would God need you? He already got everything you need. He knows exactly what's going to happen. So why does He need you? What you bringing to the table? That's what you ask somebody down here on earth. What are you bringing to the table when you go to God? When it's time for you to go to God. So that's why I say, why do you think God needs you? He doesn't. God does not need you. And on a second thought, God does not need your money. He got all the money He needs, all the money He wants. Why would He need your money? Why are you going to church giving them all your money or a major portion of your money? Like you don't know no better. I swear, man, people know these things and they just don't want to do right by these things. what we believe. We want to believe what our parents tell us. We want to hold that sacred within the faithful breast. But you gotta be realistic with it. Our parents told us that there was a Santa Claus. Yeah, our parents told us that an Easter bunny lays eggs. These are things that we know ain't true, but yet we continue to push these things down to our children and make them be believers. It's unbelievable. We should stop that. Stop lying to your children. We're not the type of people that should be lying to our kids in this day and time because there's so much stuff they need to understand, so much stuff that we need to understand. And if we don't change our ways, then our children are doomed. Like I said earlier in the program, crime is up 326% in our youth. This is only the 3rd of February, and 18 bodies have been put in the morgue in Jackson, Mississippi, and they all are under 20. These kids are using guns, and I don't know how they get them, but they sure damn get them. And then they wanted to put a curfew out in Jackson, and the parents said no. Ain't that some shit? What we believe is what we need to be teaching our kids. If you know that there ain't no damn white man coming down your chimney bringing you bringing toys to your kid, and it's the father of that house who did all the shopping and putting shit together so your child can have something, then why not get a credit where credit is due? It damn sure ain't due to no white man coming down your chimney. Every year, we put all this money together and we go out and buy all this dumb shit because the retailers and psych your ass up on these commercials on Black Friday and all this other bullshit to get you in this store and separate you from your money. And that's what they do. That's their job. Their job is to separate you from your money. And if you go out and allow them to do it, who's boo boo the fool? Them or you? Spending the money you've worked so hard to get to go out and buy bullshit for people that don't appreciate shit you give them. They look at it for that day and they probably won't see it again until next year when they give it to somebody else. Stop spending your money on dumb shit for Christmas. Stop buying them dry ass turkeys because very few people eat them damn turkeys. Everybody want to cook a turkey, but very few people eat those turkeys. Waste the damn money again. You asking yourself, where do all these turkeys come from in the month of November? That's a lot of damn turkeys. Those millions and millions of turkeys on people's table on that day. Something's wrong with that picture, and nobody can tell you what it is except for you. Nobody gonna tell you what it is except for you. We gotta be twice as good, y'all, in how we raise our kids and how we train our kids to know what to do in the presence of the police. Nobody else got to do that. They don't have to train their kids, but kids don't really get trained how to operate in the course of interaction with the police. So they end up getting killed. They don't know how to act in the course of running into another youth saying, give me your car. You better give them that damn car because them little fuckers crazy. They'll shoot your ass. They will shoot you. So you got to be smarter than that little car and anything else. Your life is more important than that car. Give it to them. You can get another, but you cannot get another life. This is the Black News Network, the real voice of Military City, USA, bringing you the news from a Black perspective. We broadcast every Wednesday at 6 p.m. and every Sunday at 3:30 p.m. except for this Sunday, and I apologize for that. I had to make sure some other stuff got taken care of. So I appreciate you if you came to our show today. With that, stay safe, stay out of trouble, and we'll see you next time.